So we're going to start down on the ground, hands and toes. So we're going to start quadruped, tuck those toes under, lift the knees up. We're going to hold for a 5 count, and then we're going to push back into more of a down dog, keeping your elbows in, reaching those heels down as you lift your low abs, hold for a 2 count, and then come back forward. Keep pressure into the fingertips to unload the wrist. So we're staying open. The short plank position with the knees bent, we're really just trying to find the abs, stabilize the shoulders, come back to down dog again. And we're just going to alternate here, holding each end for somewhere between 2 and 5 as you feel comfortable. The goal is to keep the spine long here. So whether it's horizontal or hips up, I'm not rounding the spine as I go back. Trying to engage those hamstrings to pull the tailbone under. So even though their hamstrings are getting long, they're staying active and engaged. We're not relying on the posture to provide stretch. 10 seconds here. Three, 2, 1. Come onto your back. Marching bridge. Feet are flat to the ground. I want a little bit of pressure in the ball of your foot, but most of the weight's in your heels. Sit bones are connected. Pelvic floor is lifted. From there, we're going to bring one foot up and then the other. Just trying to wake up some of that stability. Doesn't have to be a massive load here as you feel comfortable, as you feel like you're warming up and getting engaged. If you'd like to widen your feet or bring your elbows off the ground, you can do that. 45 seconds here. Shoulders are spread across the ground, so even if your elbows are up, try to let your chest stay nice and open. Low back is long here. If it helps to lower the hips a little bit, so instead of being at a full top of range of motion bridge, we're only maybe halfway up. If that helps you stay in the posterior tilt, please do that. 3, 2, 1. Good. Come back to hands and knees. This time we're going to keep the knees on the ground. We're going to pull the toes up off the ground for unstable pointers. So you're going to be on one side, coming in and out, heel backwards, fourth and fifth fingers are reaching forward. Trying to do so with only 2 points of contact on the ground. Eyes are straight down over your wrists. If it feels like you need to put that toe down in order to avoid getting into the back, please do that. 10 seconds on this side. Three, 2, 1, and switch. Take a moment with both knees and hands down. So we've got all 4 points. We're lifting and engaging the front of the trunk, and then maintain that tension as we come into pointers on the other side. "20 seconds here." Exhale as you get long. Use the exhale to pull the ribs and abdomen up. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Come to half kneeling. So we're going to be the front foot is a little bit in front of all 90 degrees. So once we do that, we're going to bring the hips forward, shoulders stay slightly in front of the hips, press down through the heel. With the hand on the side of the back leg, put it on your glute. We're going to engage that glute, lift the heel up, and we're going to turn the heel out. So we're internally rotating the femur. That's going to make it very difficult to keep the glute engaged. Come back to neutral, down, relax. Engage the glute, engage the low abs. We might have stretch in the hip flexor. That's good. Then we're going to get that glute on and try to keep it on as you turn the heel to the outside. In, down, repeat. Some of us will have more internal rotation than others. That's okay, but we're just trying to keep that glute on as the foot comes to the outside. 2, 1, switch. So from the front, starting hip width apart, lean forward, press down through the heel, lift up from the low abs. Here, that foot's coming to the outside. Back to neutral and down, up. Down. Sometimes it'll help kind of put your mind in the muscle if it's not even constant, but you're adding a little bit of pressure, trying to connect the brain to that glute as the heel comes out. 3, 2, 1. Good. Down to a side plank. Knees or feet, your choice. The top hand is going to go from the ceiling down and under just behind the elbow and back up, starting in 2, 1, begin. So nice solid side plank. Top hand up, down towards the elbow and back up. Your eyes will move a little bit, but they're turning with your sternum, not with your hand. So I'm not getting into cervical rotation. The further you reach back, the more you'll have to rotate through the planted arm shoulder. But at the top, we're only coming to vertical. 5 seconds. Switch. Again, make sure that side plank is correct. So we've got that fingertips down, a little bit of pressure through the forearm. We're lifting through the ribs. As I come down, I'm not dropping down. I'm almost lifting as I rotate underneath and then back up to neutral. Head stays with the sternum. Don't stay in nice tight control there. 10 seconds. 3, 2, 1, and rest onto your back. Hug one knee, extend the other leg. The other leg extended could be up in the air. It can be a couple inches off the ground. We're going to hold for a 2 count and then switch legs. As you switch legs, the goal is to keep the belly button to the spine. The low back is in contact with the ground, and that pressure does not change as you go side to side here. If it feels pinchy in the front of the hip as you bring that knee up, press the knee into your hands as you keep your shoulder blades back. And that'll help activate that hamstring and glute. And it'll hopefully help recenter the head of the femur so we're not quite so pinchy. Kind of there in the crease of the hip. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Prone plank from elbows. And we're going to go wide, wide, narrow, narrow with the feet. So from here, forearms down, fingertips down, eyes are over your wrists. You can do the same thing from knees, just moving about 2 inches, wide, wide, narrow, narrow. Trying not to let the hips rotate. And I'm not side bending. It's not a big, massive movement. The movement is from the femur down. Continue with that one lead foot for another 10 seconds, then we'll switch. Good. Take a moment, reset if you'd like, and switch your lead foot starting in 2, 1. Eyes are over the wrists, shoulders are down away from the ears. Knees are long but not locked. Really don't focus on the low abs like you're trying to pull away from the waistline of your shorts or pants. Ten seconds. Three, 2, 1. Good. Onto your back. We're going to continue that wide, wide, narrow, narrow pattern. This time marching in a bridge. We can go whole feet or heels only. Heels only will be a little bit harder for the rotational control. So tuck, come about 3.5 to 3/4 of the way up. Wide, wide, narrow, narrow. Begin. Leading with 1 foot, and then we'll switch after 45 seconds. If you want to put your hands on your hips, maybe put your thumb on your ribs and then a finger on your hip bones, trying not to let that distance change, not to let the abs come up. "15 seconds leading with this foot. Rest, come down, reset, and now lead with the other foot. Chin stays tucked, neck is relaxed. Again, the hips are only 3/4 of the way up. Don't come up so far that your back is kicking on. Trying to maintain that length through the low spine. Ten seconds. Three, 2, 1. Good. Back to side plank. This time we're doing a clamshell of the lower leg. So knees or feet, but come up and then clamshell, trying to open that hip up without opening up the back. There's no spine, no hip move. The pelvis isn't moving. The femur is moving off of the pelvis. 35 seconds here. I'd rather even keep that second hand down. It might bias you into a slight forward lean, but that's going to keep you into your abs and restrict the movement from getting into this full flare of extension and external rotation that can kick into the spine. 10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Switch sides, please. Starting in 3, And when you're ready, again, we can go second hand down. You can also bring that hand down to the bottom side ribs, making sure that we stay connected on the bottom or on the low back. If your hands are on the bottom side, we want to feel that muscle tone. We want to feel engagement. If it's on the low back, it's going to be to limit engagement and movement. 20 seconds. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Come to hands and feet. We can go short or long lever at the legs, but it's going to be a little bit of a mountain climber. We can go fists here, or if you wanted to grab a dumbbell to help take pressure. If you're going from palms, just make sure you have pressure in your fingertips. And we're going to go right, left to the same side, and then right, left, crossing over. So it's a little bit of a 4 count here, straight up, across and cross. After another 15 seconds leading with this leg, we'll switch the lead leg. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Take a quick moment to reset the shoulders, reset the hands if you'd like. Come back up and lead with the opposite. Eyes are straight down, long through the neck. Ten seconds. Good. Rest there. Come up to half kneeling. From here, we're going to be doing a bit of a, we're going to do a backstroke. So pressure through the front foot, press down, glutes engaged, hamstrings on length, or I mean hip flexors on length, glutes engaged, low abs engaged, and we're turning the chest here. Again, your head follows your sternum, not your hand. So I'm not looking all the way behind me. I'm just trying to stay centered over the sternum. Hips stay square to the front. So when you're turning towards the forward knee, that will be easier. When you're turning towards the back, you're going to have to engage that glute to stay forward. So I'm not opening everything. Five, 4, 3, and switch your feet. Continue that arm movement. Exhale as the hand comes back. If you feel that temptation, if you feel it creeping into your back, breathe out so that we're driving the ribs down as you twist. "20 seconds. We can almost think of each one of these as if we're trying to get a little bit of a crunch or ab like engagement on each one. So breathe out, pull the rib to the opposite hip, pull the belly button to spine. Three, 2, 1. Good. Come on up to your feet. We're going to start with a squat plus half. So hands forward, hips back, come down as low as you feel comfortable. Add a half squat there in the bottom of that range and then come back up. The weight stays in your heels. Your toes are on the ground, but we're pressing through the heels the entire time. And back up. And up. As you feel comfortable, if you want to speed this up, you may. Just make sure that we're staying engaged through the sit bones, lifted through the low abs. So try to feel that tension in the high hamstring, even at the bottom. So we're sitting back long through the spine, trying to get a little bit of that hip hinge with knee hinge. My eyes aren't way past my toes. Almost trying to sit down into your heels. Good. Now come up to toes at the top. So we're going to open up that range of motion, getting full extension at the ankles, the knees, and the hips, but not from the low back. Ten seconds. 3, 2, 1. And rest there. Static lunge. So foot's planted, pressure in the ball of the foot, in the heel, pull the hip back so the femur's aligned with the second toe. From there, we're going to put only the back toe down, and then we're going to sit into that front hip. So we're holding here, but we're still active and intentional. We're pressing that front foot down into the ground. Don't allow yourself to drift into the back leg. Femur's drawn back. Hopefully, we can feel a little bit of high adductor on the front leg as we pull the femur back into the hip. High hamstrings engaged, pressure through the foot. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Now we're going to come up, balancing on the same foot that was just loaded. Turning your eyes side to side or head, your choice. Toes are on the ground, ball of foot's on the ground. As you turn your head, imagine you're almost looking for your own ear. So my chin isn't drifting up and off. We're staying nice and long through the spine, shoulders are down. "20 seconds on this side. You can go hands out wide. We can go hands on hips, but make sure that the up leg is at about hip height. That's going to help us get into the glute of the planted leg. Shoulders are at or even slightly in front of your hips, so I'm not leaning back. 2, 1, static lunge, other side. So again, take a moment, kind of screw that foot into the ground, and then pull the hip back. High hamstring, pressure through the heel. Nice low squat here. Doesn't have to be horizontal. If you can get to horizontal, that's great. Just make sure it doesn't force you into the back thigh here. Keeping all that work through the back of the front leg, not the quad, not the front of the thigh. 15 seconds. Five, 4, 3, 2, And up into single leg balance. Again, the knees up so that we can get into that glute, but I'm not leaning back to do so. I'm keeping my shoulders over my hips, and then turn your head. If you want to make it harder, you can close your eyes while turning your head. That way we're really forcing your mind into your foot. You have to feel those muscles as they change, depending on your center of gravity. Turning your head will change your inner ear for balance. Taking your eyes away is another reference center. So you're really left with just your proprioception of where you are in space based on your joints and pressure through the foot. 3, 2, 1. Good. Static squat. We're only going to go about halfway down here. So pressure's in the heels, high hamstrings engaged, glutes are engaged. And then we're going to do pulses with the arm. So we're going to do 5 pulses overhead, thumbs coming backwards. My ribs don't come forward. I'm pulling my shoulder blades down. 1. After 5, you're going to drop down to 45 degrees. Do the same thing. Feet are shoulder width apart here. We're not super narrow. And then horizontal. Thumbs are backwards the whole time. Pinching the shoulder blades, not letting the ribs pop forward. Keep your chin tucked and your eyes down. That'll help you stay out of your neck. "15 seconds. Three, 2, 1. Good. Step back lunges. We're going to stay on the one side. As we come down, we're going to add just a little bit of thoracic twist. So my elbow is going to come over my knee. It's not coming down towards my knee. I want to stay long through the spine. So I'm not flexing to get there, but it's going to rotate over the knee and then over the up knee when you're up. So we're alternating as we only lunge on the one side. You can turn your head with your chest or pick a point off about 20 feet in front of you, not at eye level, a little below. If you feel like you want a point to balance on. So we're turning the ribs, turning the shoulders. The belt buckle, the waist stays square to the front. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Switch your plant foot. Shake your shoulders out. Don't allow this to creep up into your neck. Other side starts in 2, 1. Begin. So as the foot goes back, we're trying to keep it at or slightly greater than hip width. I'm not just counterbalancing and reaching down behind me. "25 seconds here." So as I drive across, I'm really thinking of bringing the rib across to drive that thoracic rotation. My shoulder, my elbow's not coming all the way across midline. I'm not closing off at the pec. I'm trying to drive that rotation. from the abs. 3, 2, 1. Good. Alternating forward and side T. So we're back to the other foot planted. Hips stay horizontal as you forward T, reaching the heel backwards. Bring the knee all the way up in front. Give yourself that reset. And then out to the side. Begin. The goal is not to put the foot down in between, but I would rather you do put the foot down in between and have good clean reps on the side T and forward T, rather than be flailing all around and risk getting too much of this movement through the spine. Really trying to isolate and activate the hips here. 10 seconds. 3, 2, 1. Switch and begin. Forward T, knee up, get that glute engaged. So as I come up, I'm not leaning back, up to vertical, and then over. As you go over, envision trying to keep your whole body within the width of your foot. So my head's not getting in front of my toes. My hips aren't getting too far behind my heel. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Come down to the ground, please. First one here is going to be push-ups. Knees or toes, your choice. It's 35 seconds. And I'd like you to pick a pace that you think you can maintain the whole time. So if that means taking a 2 count at the top between each push-up, please do that. Begin. Ribs stay lifted. That's a dynamic plank. So the angles of your knees or hips don't change. You're either pivoting through your toes or your knee. Eyes are coming straight down. 15 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. We're now going to be down on the ground. Heels are up. So I'm engaging my hamstrings a little bit. My abs are up. So I'm trying to lift up away from the ground. My head is down. My neck is relaxed. And we're going to do a butterfly motion with the shoulders. So your hands start palms down by your hips. I'm turning my head just so the mic doesn't bounce too much off the ground. I'm going to pull my shoulder blades together, lift my hands. They're going to come up and around, down, relax. Exhale as you lift so that we're not pushing your ribs into the ground, and come back. If you feel like you can get your hands all the way behind your head and down your back, you can do that. But the goal here is to get that shoulder blade movement without kicking into too much lumbar extension. If we stay co-contracted through the front of the trunk, through your abs, that will protect the low back here. Five, 4, 3, 2, and rest there. Good. Skier abs or dying bug, your choice. If we're doing dying bug, you'll exhale on the one as you go in and out on the one side. If we're doing skier abs, keep your hand and elbow on the ground as we bring the sternum towards your knees. Begin. In either instance, if you feel like your hip flexors are taking over, emphasize breath to tuck the tailbone, and you can bend the knee to shorten that lever. Ten seconds. 3, 2, 1. Switch sides. Dying bug or skier abs. Starting in 3, 2, 1. Begin. Belly button stays to spine. We're staying slow and controlled here. We're not bracing up. I don't want you to hold your breath. I don't want you to feel like your belly button's bulging up into the system or into the system, up away from the spine. 3, 2, 1. Rest. Grab a cup of water. Then we'll be on have you back on your feet. Good. So once you're up, it's going to be squats. We're going to pause at the bottom. We're not doing the pulse, but we're going to come to a complete stop. We're not rolling through. And then as you come up, we can go to feet, to toes, or jump. It's going to be 1 minute straight, but I want to really emphasize that when we get down and we're low in the holding this just for a 2 count, we have pressure in the high hamstring. We're lifting the low abs. We're trying to sit back. Especially if you're jumping, the temptation is going to be to do all hip hinge, and that is going to increase the likelihood that we get into flexion and extension as we come up. So the spine stays nice and long. Begin, down, hold, up, toes, jump, whatever it may be. And you don't have to do the same one in between. Lift the low abs, lift the pelvic floor at the bottom. Ten seconds. Three, 2, 1. Good. We're going to come to that static lunge, but we're going to combine the arm pulses that we did in the squat to this lunge. So come down, get your weight through that front foot, about 80% of it. Hamstrings engaged, ribs are drawn back, and you're going to do 3 to 5 pulses overhead at 45 degrees, and then horizontal. When I say horizontal, what I really mean is perpendicular to the spine, because the spine isn't vertical here. All those angles are going to change. Pressing through the heels, toes are relaxed. 3, 2, 1. Single leg balance. This time, I'd like you to try eyes closed. Begin. If from eyes closed, you want to turn your head, you may, but you certainly don't have to. Just make sure you've got plenty of room to put your foot down. You don't have any weights or anything that you can step on accident if you need to put your foot down quickly. Press through the heels, engage the ball of the foot as you lift the pelvic floor. Toes are on the ground, but we're not gripping. 10 seconds here. 3, 2, 1. Lunge on the other side. So take that a little bit extra time finding your reference centers, ball of foot, heel, pelvic floor, low abs, ribs are down and back. And begin arm pulses. Trying to generate this movement from the shoulder blade. Eyes will be down to keep the neck long. Staying as long as we can from the crown of the head through the tailbone. Ten seconds. 3, 2, 1. Good. Single leg balance on that side. Again, we don't have to, but I'd encourage you to try eyes closed. Twenty seconds. Ten seconds. 3, 2, 1. Good. This time, instead of the step back lunge with a twist, it's going to be a lateral lunge. So I'm going to balance on my right foot. I'm stepping into my left. The weight is going to transfer all the way across, sit back into that hip. So we're, again, about 80-20. Drive off the heel, come back up to a quick balance, and down. You can feel a little bit like an ice skater here. Throw the hand opposite the hip that's going back forward. That will allow for a little bit more rotation to draw that hip back. You're sitting behind the heel on that loaded side. Your knee is not coming outside of the foot. Weight stays in the ball of the foot. The hip is drawn back. For the last 15 seconds, if you really want to open up that range, we can come all the way into a Cossack lunge, let your toe come up, sit all the way back, but then back to balance. Ball of foot stays down, hip is behind the heel, hamstrings engaged, so we're not pinching in the top. 3, 2, 1, switch sides. Begin. Doesn't have to be a massive step here, but we're really focused on getting back into the hip. We're now controlling all that lateral momentum and redirecting it into the muscles of the hip and foot as we control that rotation. We're not letting the knee drift to the outside. Good. Last 15 seconds. If you want to try and open up that range of motion even a bit further, you may. Certainly don't have to. Three, 2, 1. Good. Come back down to the ground. Same as before, we're going to go for 35 seconds of push-ups. If you want to do more, get going now. The emphasis is going to be keeping the elbows narrow here, pulling your shoulder blades back, but not letting your ribs pop forward at the bottom. Begin. Pick a pace you feel you can maintain for 35 seconds. Fists or palms, whatever's most comfortable for you. If this is a bit much at this point in the hour and you want to go from a prone plank, you may. But we're all thinking of this as a dynamic plank, so there's no lumbar extension. We're going up and down as one solid line. 3, 2, 1. Prone plank for everybody. Forearms down, fingertips down, knees or toes. If you're going from toes, the knees are a little bit soft. Nice, big, easy exhale, as if you're sigh it out. And lift away from the waistline of your shorts or pants as you do that. See if you can feel this in your low abs. 10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Down to butterfly. So same as before. Forehead's on the ground. Neck is relaxed. Heels are up. Belly button is up. Palms will be facing the ground the whole time here. Begin. Use your breath here. Make sure the neck stays relaxed. We're not smashing it into the ground. 3, 2, 1. Good. Side plank. Starting in 2, 1. Static side plank here, your choice. Feet, knees. You can lengthen that top leg if you'd like. So while we're up, we're keeping that forearm press. Pay quick attention to which elbow is on the ground. We're going to go into another dying bug or skier abs from here. If you're doing skier abs, the side that is down will become the top side. So we're doubling up on that oblique. If you're doing dying bug, the elbow that's down is going to become the elbow that's going overhead. We have 5 seconds. 3, 2, 1. So dying bug, the elbow that was on the ground is the elbow that's going overhead. Skier abs, the elbow that was on the ground is now the elbow that's coming up towards the ceiling. Begin. Belly button to spine, either way. "25 seconds. "10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Side plank, other side. Starting in 5, 3, 2, and up. And hold here 45 seconds. Keep the neck long, top ear towards the ceiling. If you're reaching overhead, make sure the palm is facing forward, not down, so we aren't closing this top shoulder. We're pulling that shoulder blade down and back. 15 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Skier ab or dying bug. Last one today. Starting in 2, 1. Begin. 25 seconds. Use the breath to help pull that belly button down the spine to connect the ribs and hips in front. 10 seconds. 3, 2, 1. Rest and rest. You're done. Thank you for joining me.